Hey, Elise Bowman here. We're talking all things anime. We're at Wonderland of the Americas in San Antonio. Stay tuned. We've got some great interviews coming up. Elise Bowman here, and I am with Chris Latosh. He is the founder of Kamehacon. Tell us about Kamehacon.
So Kamehacon is a all Dragon Ball Z show, and is, to my knowledge, it's the first. So yeah, it's just a big anime con full of Dragon Ball fans.
And if somebody hasn't been before, because you had an amazing con last year, you've got one coming up, tell us what they can expect.
So I think our main point for putting together the con was to give Dragon Ball fans somewhere to go that they could share their thoughts and feelings on the show and just kind of hang out with other fans. So, on top of the wonderful VA artists that have come out, share that experience with them, and we bring statues. I'm sure you saw this weekend. We bring all kinds of Dragon Ball stuff: toys, collectibles, games, YouTubers, pretty much anything Dragon Ball you can think of. Like, we're trying to pack it into one show. So
I love it. I think there's going to be so many cool things there. And if people want to find out information, you're making so many neat announcements online, on social media. Where can they find you on social media?
So our main one is Facebook. We actually have a Facebook group that people can join to stay more in tune. We usually drop more behind the scenes information there because it's a little more private and we know who it's going to. And then we also have our Instagram, which we've been getting a little bit more active on, and our Twitter. So anything on social media, you could just search Kamehacon and we're there, or somebody's there representing us. So
yeah, they're super easy to find. So find them on social media and tell us the date.
The dates are April 12th through the 14th, 2019 in Irving, Texas.
Yes, so be there. Anything else you want to say?
If you're gonna go to Dragon Ball Z Con, make sure that you come as Yamcha. That's always a good heads up.
Okay, I like that. And that is all. Awesome, thanks. We're here at the Wonderland of the Americas, Heroes and Villains Arts and Crafts Show, and I'm with the one and only Rick Robertson. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Tell us about the voices you do. Give us your top couple of characters.
Well, I think the top character, at least according to everybody at this place, is Dabura. That would be, I am Dabura, king of the demons.
If he's allowed to keep reaching into his power, it will only be a matter of time before he destroys you.
Now here, we got some questions from fans who want to know how you got started. That's the first question. How did you get started as a voice actor?
I got started as a disc jockey. Believe it or not, right here in San Antonio, where we are. We segged, I think, at one point from being a disc jockey into doing voiceover full time. And after that, I would say, was when I was approached to do some anime voices.
Oh, very cool. And who was your first anime voice?
We were talking about that earlier, and I'm not sure I can even remember. Isn't that sad?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's sad. But yeah, Dabura is probably the first one that I remember, doing. And then there was Yomi on Yu Yu Hakusho, which was really, in terms of dialogue, far more involved, and he was sort of, I sort of based him on Jack Nicholson and the Joker, the old Joker.
Oh, really? Let's hear that.
I don't recall my asking.
I love this. I love hearing the backstory behind these, because you do kind of wonder where the voice acting comes from, where the character comes from, how you came up with it. So I love hearing that.
Right, yeah, and again, it is definitely a craft to do it. We were talking, I think, on a panel earlier today about how everybody does voices. Everybody, they just don't know it, until you're mad at somebody, you'll listen to someone talk and then they will do a voice and not realize it, because they'll say, and do you know what she said to me then? Well, I'll tell you exactly what she said. She sounded just like this, It's like people will be doing these voices and they don't even know they're doing them.
That's so true. And that is a question we get asked a lot, like, how do I get started in voice acting? And I love the point, he did make that point on the panel. If you want to get started, come up with a character, somebody you imitate when you get mad. So try that at home. See who you get mad at and imitate them.
Right, and the other thing that we talked about on the panel is the fact that your voice is your instrument, and you need to know how your instrument sounds. Mm-hmm. So anytime you can read into a recording device of any kind, You know, you want to do that so that you become familiar, not with how you think you sound, because everybody thinks they sound different, and you always, you know, when they hear their voice played back, they always go, oh, I don't sound like that. You know what I'm talking about.
I know, we've all done that, where you're like, do I sound like that?
Oh, that's not me, I don't sound like that, but you do.
Yeah.
And so you want to know exactly what that sound is so you can begin to manipulate it.
That's so true, yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's probably the best advice I know to give anybody is read constantly, and when you're reading, read into a recording device and play it back and learn how you sound, because that's the very beginning of it.
That's such great advice. Now I want to segue into something else. I happen to know Rick very well. I get to work with this guy every week, so I know he is a jack of all trades. He does everything. How many voices do you think you do total?
Well, we counted close to 100 once.
That is amazing. He does so many impersonations. I feel like he could do anybody. You ask for it, he could do it. So let's hear one. Let's hear, how about Rodney Dangerfield?
Okay, Rodney Dangerfield, I love that voice. He's a great voice, you know. I remember I went to my dentist. I said, doctor, I've got yellow teeth. He says, wear a brown necktie. You know, it's always the same, no respect at all. So yeah, I love Rodney.
Okay, how about Rocky?
Hey, yo, you know, I don't know. You know, if I win this fight, I won't just be another bum from the neighborhood. Yo, I'll be somebody, you know. Yo.
That's awesome. Who else you got? Elvis?
Well, everybody does Elvis, man. I think that's just a given. It's funny, though, because now there's a cutoff on age. Some people think you're doing Elvis. Other people think you're doing Johnny Bravo.
That's true. That's true. Very true.
Yeah, one of my favorites was Johnny Carson. You know, that was a very distinct voice. You don't have distinct talk show hosts like back in the day, you know what I mean? But my favorite Carson, I think, was when he said, okay, 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1. You know what that is? That's Bo Derek getting older. That is so bad. You are correct, sir. Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
That's awesome. So you also do other things. Tell us some of the other things that you do, voice acting related.
Oh, voice acting related.
Or anything related. I mean,
Yes.
share whatever.
I thought you were going to bring up the restraining order. Don't do that.
Oh, no, not that.
No, okay, voice acting related, yeah. Well, obviously, when I'm not doing anime voices and things like that, I've done, you know, I don't know how many commercials. As I like to say, I've done enough car commercials to roast in hell for all eternity. You know what I mean? And
Well, so to end, I think let's go back to anime. I want to hear maybe a favorite story from when you were doing anime, or just a favorite scene from an anime show.
I think my favorite story is a true story, which is, you know, I got into anime originally because I wanted my sons to think I was cool. You know, and of course they never did.
I was going to ask, do they?
No, they don't, to answer that question. But what they did used to do was, you know, obviously I was Deborah in the video games. And so when they were angry at me, they would go play Deborah in the video games and beat me up.
I love that.
Which I thought that was great, you know. And then one of my favorites too is my kids, when I first started, you know, being known at Dragon Ball Z, their friends didn't believe them. You know, like, because they would go to school and, you know, what does your dad do? Well, he's Deborah on Dragon Ball Z. No, he isn't. No, he is not. You know, and so what happened at one of the home rooms was I showed up and this little boy comes up very, you know, hands on his hips, and he goes, you're not Deborah on Dragon Ball Z. And I go, yes, Master Bobbity, I am Deborah on Dragon Ball Z. I thought he was going to wet his pants. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Just to look at his face, like, you know.
You are.
Oh my God, it is him, you know. So those are some of my favorite stories.
I love that. Well, let's sign off today. I think it would be appropriate if you signed off in Deborah's voice.
I am signing off in Deborah's voice, and we wish you the best. And now I will spit on her and turn her to stone.
Thank you. Later.